Hello and welcome to an entire week after the Nintendo Switch. It has been one whole week since we got this device in our hands. And oh my goodness, this is a real game changer. This is not really a full review, so to say, but more of a first impressions over the span of a week, because I'm going to be honest, I haven't stopped playing it. That's why there hasn't been a single video, is I haven't been able to put this little guy down at all. Like, so for the days I had off, I've been playing Zelda, and then on the days I worked, I would get on the bus and play Zelda, get off the bus and go to work, on breaks play Zelda, get back on the bus and play Zelda, and then come home and play Zelda. I have been playing Zelda non-stop, and I'm still not done with it. I have been playing for a week straight, and I'm still not done with it. That's insane. And to be completely honest, this little machine feels like magic. I mean, it's one of those things where you look at this and you're like, oh man, this is a tablet. I had the Joy-Con off to exaggerate the fact that this is the console. This is it. This is it. All of this. This is like gamepad. Look at the gamepad comparatively. This little thing is capable of pumping out Zelda's graphics, and it's kind of amazing to see it happen. It's hard to describe. The Nintendo Switch is in many ways an interesting console, because as a home console it looks good enough, but as a portable console it is in a league all of its own. There is not a single portable system on the market that is capable of looking like the Nintendo Switch does. And that, to me, is incredible, since I actually play a lot of my games portably. So, honestly, what do I think of it? How do I feel about this? Well, there have been a number of reports of issues with Nintendo Switches, and unfortunately, mine has none of them. You look at the home screen, there is no issues whatsoever with the LCD, no scratches, and the dock hasn't been scratching, and I've been sliding it in and out of the dock constantly. My Joy-Cons don't desync. I haven't had an issue with them. I clipped them on, they work just fine. I used them in the grip, they work just fine. I haven't had an issue. I played it in the living room. I played it in my personal recording setup. In my living room, the Switch is docked, and I have perfect line of sight. But in this recording setup back here, my Switch is off to the side in this alcove over here, and I'm playing facing that screen. So I'm playing in a couple different varieties. Now, I am pretty close to the console, so that shouldn't really matter. And generally with Bluetooth, it shouldn't really matter about line of sight, but I'm saying shouldn't because it could. I still haven't had the issue. So, I mean, I can't really speak on it all that much. If you block the Joy-Con, of course you're going to have issues. But I just haven't had a problem. Now, speaking of the Joy-Con, we're going to talk about charging grips for a moment, because I bought the charging grip, which is this one, and this is the one that comes with the console. Now, they look virtually identical, except for the fact that the charging grip actually carries a current through it, and the other grip, this grip, does not. The Joy-Con are kind of mysterious on how they work, because honestly, like, I'm looking at this and there are no plugs. This and this are almost identical, except for the difference that it has a plug. So I'm guessing that there's a little bit of tech in there, but I'm not going to go out and say that there's much, because this is only slightly heavier than this. I do want to point out that I haven't really gotten the low Joy-Con battery warning once. So you may be able to get away with just using the one that they give you. But my one little tiny complaint towards Nintendo for this is this should have just been included. If literally all it is adding a port, then this shouldn't exist, and this should just be it. There should only be charging grips, and I don't know why there aren't just charging grips. And the Joy-Cons, you know, slide in and out of the grip. I didn't line it up right. Pretty much the same, no matter what. And then on this controller configuration, I actually would say I do like it. I was thinking of getting the Pro Controller because I had the Pro Controller for the Wii U for the exact reason that it was a little uncomfortable over longer periods of time. But so, this controller has actually been pretty comfortable for the endless amounts of Zelda I've been playing. Now, if there is a game I start playing and I feel like I need the Pro Controller, I will start looking for one. But for the most part, this has been adequate as a controller. And pretty comfortable. It's actually shaped very similarly to my favorite controller of all time, which is the GameCube controller. Much like the GameCube controller, instead of that wide grip that comes from the current boomerang-shaped controllers, it's more of a vertical up and down grab around the controller type of grip. And it's similar, not 100% the same, but it is very similar feeling to a GameCube controller in the stick placement and how the buttons feel. And to be completely honest, every single button on this thing, you can hear this, is very clicky, and I like that because it feels responsive. The only thing I've ever had with the Joy-Con happening is I unclick the trigger, a little too easily sometimes. And so I'll be lining up a shot in Zelda with my bow out, and boop, oh man, I just shot the arrow and the thing got away. It happens, but I don't think it's something that would be fixed all that much by getting a Pro Controller, especially because now that I'm conscious about the issue, I can quite literally just hold down the button whenever I'm ready. So talking about the Nintendo Switch's portability, I attached the Joy-Cons onto the side. This is the Nintendo Switch in portable mode. And for one thing, the console is actually very well weighted. When you're playing in portable mode, you don't really feel it too much. One smaller nitpick is when you're laying back this way, the Joy-Cons can dig into your palms ever so slightly. I did feel it a little bit when playing in bed. Not all that much because I could just sit up and it's perfectly fine. The portable mode, though, has been my secret sort of favorite way to play. I love playing it on the TV, but I've been playing it so much on the go lately that I really do like its portable mode. Much like the GameCube, the Nintendo gamepad, which feels like it feels huge in comparison, actually. It's very well weighted and centered so that it doesn't feel awkward and large, which is one of the things that I was concerned about. One thing I actually do like about this over this is the sticks don't feel like these feel pretty tactile compared to these, which is kind of silly because these have more travel, yet these seem to have better resistance, if you will. But so the Nintendo Switch with its Joy-Cons is still smaller than the gamepad. Even though they look very, very similar. The screens are the exact same size, but the Switch's screen, unlike the gamepad screen, is phenomenal. Playing this thing, I've played this thing in direct sunlight, I have played it, as I said, on a bus, I've played it in optimal conditions with no lights on, and it still looks good. In fact, this is where the Switch honestly shines. When you show people the Nintendo Switch in portable mode, it's like, how? Their brains cannot comprehend how so much power is being pushed through this thing. And yes, I am referring to power as in performance power, because as it stands, this is an impressive feat. Yeah, it's not as powerful as an Xbox One or PS4, and that's kind of obvious by the playing Zelda, but as a portable console, it's kind of amazing. Just kind of. I mean, I don't know the magic and what fairies are powering this thing, but they are pretty awesome. That much I can say. So graphically, the Nintendo Switch is perfectly fine, which, again, is something that I was a little worried about, that maybe the graphic boost that we're getting wasn't really there, and it is, in fact, there. There is a graphical boost when using the Nintendo Switch. So, overall, do I think the Nintendo Switch is worth it? Yes, I think it is going to be a very, very popular system. It not only feels nice, but it looks nice. I really do not feel any shame whipping my Switch out and playing with it. But I have no shame in playing my Nintendo Switch in public. In fact, I carry it around in this case, which I got with Zelda. And this case is also pretty amazing, but I'm not going to do a review on the case just because it works pretty fine. I think this case is pretty much the same layout as the Hori cases of the same shape. So, I mean, this case works perfectly fine, and if you're transporting your Switch, it works really well. And then, on top of that, the Switch is technically pocketable with things like cargo pants on, which I'm actually wearing a pair, and I'm tempted to stand up and prove it, but doing anyway, just because you're not really going to protect the screen all that well. You can put it, as you can see right there, in the pocket with the Joy-Cons, also in the pocket. So there you go. Proof that you can carry your Nintendo Switch in your pockets, but again, not really that big of a deal, and I'm going to have to clean my screen. Awesome. Now, I would recommend it for gamers. I would not recommend it for children, not yet at least. Not until they make a cheaper or even smaller Nintendo Switch. Gamer Guts put it best when she played it. She's like, I feel like I can drop this. And she compared the feelings to getting a new iPhone. Like, there's this dread when you have a fancy piece of electronics in your hand and you know you can't replace it. And yes, I definitely felt it too. When holding the Nintendo Switch, I'm like, I better not drop this because it feels like a premium experience. I wish there were a case that would work with it, but I don't think there ever will be. And it is honestly amazing how nice this feels and how good it all feels. I can recommend it. I honestly can. Now, I would wait until they actually start getting stock in order to try to get one of these, because if you start looking now, you're going to have to settle with the first Switch you find, and that's not a good idea because there are somewhat problems. So getting it now would be if you want Zelda immediately, and if you want Zelda immediately, get it. If you see it and you want Zelda, get it, because it is honestly amazing. It has been the best Zelda experience I've ever had. No exaggeration. Like, it is that good. And if you really, really want to Switch and you are trying to wait off till Mario Odyssey, I would aim for about the summer. So before Mario Odyssey comes out and out of the holiday season. Why? Is this thing has had a great start, which is a good sign, you know, for a console. A good start is a good start. And since there is a lot of positivity around the game on the system, that's another good thing. With that combined all together, this is going to be a very hard system to obtain during the Christmas season. I know a lot of people have been saying they're going to wait until the Christmas season. Don't wait until the Christmas season. I would aim for like the summer when Splatoon is out, which should be able to entertain you if you have Splatoon and Zelda till Mario comes out. Other than that, if you're trying to get it for a gift and you're going to hold on to it anyway, I would hold on, like, I would obtain it when you can and then hold on to it. But that's just my thoughts. I really do like this system, and I'm going to continue playing it. I have got over 200 gigabytes of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild saved, and I have to edit all of it. I don't know how many episodes. I don't know how long each episode is. I'm going to say about 15 to 20 minutes, even though the recordings are somewhere between 30 and 60 minutes. And yeah, it's a really good game, and I enjoy it. But thank you guys for watching. Eventually, you know, we're going to do more with the Nintendo Switch. I do have a video to make soon, but I'm kind of doing this one quickly because I want to get back to Zelda, to be completely honest. I have absolutely no temperament for being a YouTuber. Video games are coming first right now. So, thank you guys again. Wolfie out.